Welcome to Samsung Not a School. My name is Adesuwa. People call me Ade. Some people call me Beyonce. I work as a problem solver for the creative management consultancy called B&A. And when I'm not problem solving, I am DJing or hosting an event someplace. Now, in this session, I'm gonna cover how you can secure the bag and maintain it. And the bag is a metaphor for money. Now, a lot of young people, especially, are leaving school and entering adulthood completely unaware of how to manage their money. But we're going to change that. So now I'm not a financial advisor, but over the past, I would say 3 years, I've come on a big financial journey myself, and I'm keen to share all the wonderful things I've learned along the way. Now, in these sessions, I'm going to be covering key financial definitions. Then we're going to be looking at money management. And finally, I'm going to cover top tips for freelancers or people who are interested in getting into freelancing. So we're going to kick things off by getting started with key definitions. So I'm going to read out some terms that you may or may not know, and then you're going to pause this video and write down what you think these words mean, okay? So I'm going to start by listing them out. So the first word is inflation. What do you think inflation means? Write that down. Second word is credit score. Third word is AER. Fourth word is APR. And the final word is pension. So now you're going to pause this video and write out your definitions. Did you pause this video? I hope you did, because I don't want any cheaters, okay? I'm going to trust you. I'm going to assume you did and you tried your hardest with the definitions, or maybe you already knew them and you're just going to be saying exactly what I'm saying. So inflation is the increase in the cost of living over time, and it's usually measured as a percentage rate. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say in 2019, bread cost £1. Today, the inflation rate is 1%, which means that on average, this same bread is 1% more expensive than what it was last year. So this bread now costs about £1 and 1p from £1 in 2019. The second word, credit score. So credit score is a number that expresses your credit worthiness. So how likely a bank is to loan you money. And there are different websites that you can go on to check what your credit score is. And I'm going to get onto that a bit later and just tell you some useful links to go and visit. The third word is AER, and that stands for annual equivalent rate. And this is a number that expresses the cost of saving. So in order for banks to get in as many customers as possible, they are going to entice you with an AER rate. So again, this is a interest rate that essentially says that if you save your money with us, we're gonna give you extra bit of cash. We're gonna give you 1% AER rate, which means that of the savings that you have in this account, they're gonna pay you an added 1% on top of that money. Now, an APR rate stands for, or an APR stands for annual percentage rate, and that is the cost of borrowing. So if you have a credit card, or if you have a mortgage, or if you have a personal loan, this is the cost of borrowing that money. So this is how banks make their money. And usually the APR rates can be high, and that does vary. That could be based on your credit score, for example. But this is essentially the cost of borrowing money. And the final word is pension. So this is a savings plan which is used for retirement. So this is money that you use once you're finished with your work and you're just trying to live your best life. This is going to be your income. Welcome back. In this session, I'm going to cover basic money management tips. So The best way to manage your money is actually by creating a budget sheet. So there are so many budget sheets online, so I would recommend that you search and just have a look at what's available out there. But in this video, I'm going to provide you with, at a very basic level, what a budget sheet kind of includes. So we're going to start off by writing down your income. So your income could be your salary, it could be a wage, it's money that's coming in for you on average per month. So I want you to make a note of that. And then now I want you to list out your expenses. So your expenses could be rent, bills, food, travel. But in terms of these expenses, I want you to list out the absolute essential expenses that you have each month. So just the essential expenses. Now I want you to deduct your expenses from your income. And hopefully this is a positive number. If it is negative, don't worry, that is quite common. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to assume that you now have a positive number. So this number that you're now left with, this is money that you usually spend on entertainment and lifestyle, and hopefully, most importantly, your savings. So realistically, I want you to write down per month how much you spend on just lifestyle, entertainment, those kind of activities. Now that you've listed those down, of that money that you spend, can you reduce it? Can you deduct it? Can you budget it more effectively and efficiently? Are you able to be flexible with that budget you've set aside? Because what we really want to do is prioritize savings. So savings is money that you might use for a rainy day. It could be money that you're building up to buy a property, or maybe you want to go on a holiday. I think savings are just a very essential, important part of just ensuring that you're covered in case of any emergencies. Now, don't get me wrong, I still want you to live your best life. I still want you to treat yourselves. So, I do encourage you to do so within a budget. But I think it's also still very important that you consider putting money aside for just emergencies or for things that you're trying to save for. So at a very, very basic level, that is a budget sheet. I would again recommend that you check some out online to have a more detailed breakdown of what it looks like. Now, there are some apps out there that can help you manage your money. Bean, Emma, and Yolt are the ones that come to mind. Again, there are probably way more available out there. And for the task for this session is I want you to look at your credit score. So this is homework for you, right? I want you to go and visit either Experian.co.uk or Equifax.co.uk, which are the two biggest credit score agencies that are out there. And I want you to look at your credit score. And I want you to see what it is, okay? I think there's always an opportunity, unless you have a perfect credit score, there are always opportunities to help build that score. And I'm going to give you 3 top tips. One of them is paying off any outstanding debt that you might have. So creating a realistic payment plan, and hopefully if you're able to speak to your creditors about creating a realistic plan, that is usually the best way to go about it. So that's my number 1 tip. My second tip, which kind of goes against a little bit what I said the first time, is also borrowing money. So this is mainly aimed at people who maybe don't have any outstanding loans or debts already. Borrow money. So you can borrow money by getting a credit card or by using an overdraft. But if you do borrow money, the most important thing is to pay it off in full, hopefully in full, as much as you can, and on time. Because this helps to build your credit score, because it proves that not only are you able to borrow money, you're able to pay it back on time, and therefore banks or lenders are able to see that you're the type of person that will pay things on time, and therefore they're more likely to offer you loans with really good interest rates, and it just allows for you to have greater flexibility in that way. And the final tip is to sign up to the electoral register. So if you haven't already registered to vote, I would highly recommend that you do so. And this is good because it helps to prove to banks your identity. So it's literally just being able to prove who you are. And those are my top 3 tips on how to improve your credit score. So now we're going to move on to Welcome to the final session. In this session, I'm going to be giving you 3 top tips. So these top tips are for the freelancers out there or for the people who are looking to get into freelancing. So tip number 1, pay yourself a salary. So when you're freelancing and you're getting all these big and great projects coming through and you're earning a lot of money, chances are you might get a little tempted to spend some of that money. But what I would recommend that you do is pay yourself a realistic salary based on your expenses, based on what you need, as opposed to what you like to pay yourself. And one of the benefits of doing this is that it provides you with just that bit of stability in case next month a project doesn't come through. Because with freelancing, you can't really guarantee that you're always going to be having an income. Another benefit of paying yourself a salary is that it helps you to manage your money and also plan ahead. So when you're freelancing, you will need to complete a tax return towards the end of the financial year. And when you complete that tax return, you're going to receive a tax bill and you're going to have to pay that tax bill. So you don't want to spend all the money that you've earned that year because you need to pay your tax. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to register yourself as a limited company. Now, the benefits of registering yourself as a limited company is that it offers you protection. So let's say, hypothetically, you owe a bank money or someone sues you. If you're registered as a limited company, your assets, your company assets, are at risk of being repossessed if you're unable to pay that money that you owe. But if you're not registered as a limited company, your personal assets might be at risk of being repossessed. So your personal assets might include your personal laptop, it might include your personal car, or might even include your home. So registering yourself as a limited company just offers you that added level of protection. And my final top tip is to make sure that you have a pension. Now, if you are employed by a company, so you have an employer, chances are that you are contributing towards a pension, whether you know it or not. So if you earn over £10,000 a year and you are over the age of 22, you are probably, most likely, definitely contributing towards a pension. And on top of your contributions, which come out of your salary, your employer is also contributing towards your pension on your behalf. However, if you are freelancing, then you're missing out on those employer contributions. However, the government has introduced a scheme called the Lifetime ISA, and an ISA stands for Individual Savings Account. And what the government has said is that they will pay you 25% on top of what is in your ISA. So with an ISA, a lifetime ISA, you can save a maximum of £4,000 a year. And if you were to save £4,000 a year, the government will pay you 25% on top of that. So that's £1,000 of free money. And if you can't contribute £4,000 a year, don't worry. If you're only able to contribute £5 or £10, the government is still going to give you 25% on top of that. Now, the caveats. With a lifetime ISA, you can only withdraw money from that account if you, 1, are looking to buy a property in the UK, or if you're retiring. So it's mainly aimed at people who are looking towards saving for their retirement or buying a property. You can withdraw your money from your lifetime ISA. However, you obviously will miss out on that government bonus. So those are my 3 top tips.